Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Ballrooms and Bachelors podcast, where we talk about dance, life, and all things Bachelor. I'm Matthew.
And I'm Camille.
So this is a pretty exciting week, and we got to actually, it's kind of different from last week where we did not have many dance updates. We have a lot more this week. So that's kind of what we're going to start out talking about today is that like we had talked about last week, I was kind of waiting for my showcase feedback, and I officially got that like within the last few days. So I'm going to talk about that and kind of just do overall experience. And then like just some content updates from that. And then just like Camille has been talking about, the Dallas competition is officially this week, which is so exciting. So she'll have some updates for that. And then we're gonna get into the Bachelor in Paradise episode 8 recap. Again, it's so confusing of how like many episodes there's been, but it's gone by so quickly.
We're getting close to the
We're
end.
getting close to
And
the
after
end.
this episode, I'm kind of relieved.
Exactly. I know. It's just like I think we kind of need a break from this. So after all the dance stuff, we will recap episode 8 of Bachelor in Paradise as well.
Yes.
So I guess we will get started with the dance updates. And so like we were talking about last week, I was waiting for my feedback. And if you don't know what we're talking about, usually with whether it's the in-person showcase or if you do like a mini match showcase where it's the virtual one, you there's like judges watching you. So if you're in person, the judges are actually sitting there watching. And if you're doing the mini match competition virtually, they actually have them like in a separate kind of
Hmm.
like on the virtual call, and the judges are watching there as well. And then usually like a week or two after your performance, you do or you get feedback for the performance, which I think is really cool because you can kind of and usually obviously a lot of it is very like uplifting, which is like good to feel. But then also if there's like any like things that you could work on, it's usually in like a very positive way. So it's both like also like affirmation, but then also like things of just how you can improve in the future, which I think is great because then that's I think shows that people care, which I think
Hmm.
is awesome. So the feedback I got was because it was I have to remember all of them because it came from three different judges. So like and all of them were pretty like
Yeah.
generally the same. But there, I know people were talking, or the judges were talking about how they love the choreography, which is really I really appreciate because Elena and I came up with it together, which is I thought was really cool and it was super fun. So I thought that it was cool that that was recognized. They talked about how like in sync we were for a lot of the routine and that we had a great partnership and everything like that, which again, especially for any dance, I with a partner dance, I think that's something that would be really cool to get feedback for. So that was really fun. And then the only real like critique I got, which I kind of noticed this too, and I think this is the thing, and I don't know if you agree with this with like dance videos, but I think it's really any creative outlet. And I've talked to this with my film major friends and then just dance club friends at school and everything. I think just being creators, we have such a level of like kind of unrealistic perfection in our minds.
Yes.
And it's just
Yes.
like, and we know that's like so like it's unrealistic because no one
Yeah.
can be perfect in anything, but like we just are so like fixated on being perfect
Hmm.
in any artistic thing or creative thing we do. And I think that can kind of sometimes like not intentionally, but can sometimes like take away the good feedback that you get.
Yeah.
Like that's what you focus on. And I've really tried in the last few years with my like creative outlets to like not allow that to, I guess, seep into the actual like being proud of what I've created and everything like that. And I actually saw like a thing on Instagram recently that was like the actually imperfection in dance is actually what makes it beautiful. And
Hmm.
I've actually really tried to like lean into that mindset as well. Cause like I think like as I remember even like right after the first night when we were like after we got back from the dinner we were talking about, I was like
Yeah.
watching the video and I was like, oh wait, well that was wrong. Like it's just like you like start pointing out everything and it's just like, like don't do that.
Yeah.
So but the only thing that they really talked about, which again, and I think it was because I have not done much floor work.
Hmm.
They were just saying that just make sure there's maybe a little bit more kind of fluidity with the floor work and the I guess the being in sync with that just because obviously floor work is very difficult, especially when you're like it hurts in the moment definitely, but
Yeah.
it makes the dance beautiful and really fun. But that's something I've always wanted to continue getting better at. So
Hmm.
obviously that's like a really good note that I'm glad I could get because I want to definitely get better at it. But overall, it seemed like the feedback was really positive and people seemed to like the routine and again the choreography. So it yeah, it was great. So I am very happy with it. And yeah, so and then like we were talking about the last few weeks, or I don't know what episode it was, it's probably like the last two episodes. I actually am going to be making a reel of my like day in the life of that mini match competition day, which I'm very
Hmm.
excited about. It'll be like my first time really ever creating anything like that. So I will be posting that in the next few days or so. So
Hmm.
depending on whenever this episode gets posted, that will probably either be out by now, or if it's not, it will be out very soon, shortly after. So keep an eye out for it. But I'm very excited.
Yes.
So that will be awesome.
I know I haven't seen any of the background of the reel either, so I'm excited to see.
So just see like for like the behind the scenes of
Yeah.
the day, especially since you weren't there, so they kind of see how like everything went. But now about like let's go over to you because I know you probably have a lot of updates for everything.
Dallas, I'm leaving. We are recording this actually a day later than we normally do,
Yeah.
but I am leaving tomorrow.
Yeah.
I have to finish packing when I get home, so that's going to be fun. But like,
Always the best part of
Yeah.
traveling is just like finish packing.
yeah, so there was a little bit of a change. I don't know how much I got into like the actual structure of it.
Yeah.
This is an American Open dance sport competition that is being held in Dallas. It is also the 20th anniversary of the Dance With Me Studios
The company,
studio. Yeah, the company. So I've been with the studio 9 years. That's kind of why I wanted to be there. I've
Yeah.
never done the Texas competition. I've never been to Texas. I was like, I think this just felt like the right moment.
This is your first outside comp too, right? Or have
This-
you ever done one?
outside.
Like outside the local area? Yeah,
no, I haven't. Like ballroom, no. I mean, I guess I mean technically I've done stuff that was like in the city, but I don't consider it
Yeah,
right
yeah.
there. But no, I mean all through Dance With Me or like AODC.
Yeah.
So Thursday we're going to go to, they have like a party, it's like social dancing party.
Yeah.
Today I'm going to watch some of our friends compete in Latin and social.
Mhm.
And then the showcase was I thought originally going to be Saturday night, but it's going to be part of Friday night because that's when the student showcases are. The Dance With Me tribute is supposed to be all this stuff, like a big pro number and all that. And then I'm going to do some sightseeing on Saturday and Sunday, mostly during the day. Depending on how the timing of the sightseeing goes on Saturday, I might go back to watch some of the pro competitions.
Oh, awesome. That would be fun.
Because they did divvy up the tickets.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be there for the dinner and get like the VIP seat, you can at least go and watch and stand, and then they
Right.
So depending on how the sightseeing, the timing of the
Yeah.
I was just like checking because with all of these events, you get specific like themes for the outfits, and I think they're definitely going to have like the marketing team there. So I know like Thursday night's supposed to be chic and fabulous. So
I love that time.
They want like a little bit like colors and
flashy and stuff. Yeah.
And then Friday's a gala, like red carpet affair gala.
Yeah.
And then Saturday is just like at least to have like a nice cocktail dress. So at least for the ladies.
Yeah.
So I've been like piecing all that together, and I'm just trying to lock down my outfits of like what am I going to pack as far as sightseeing goes. And like I just remembered while I was driving over here, I have to rehearse my showcase on Friday sometime in the middle of the day. So the outfit I was planning to pack to spectate, I cannot practice in. So I need to pack these clothes. Just like leggings and whatever. Just threw on the floor. But no, I did a dress rehearsal again last night with Elena.
That's awesome.
My last lesson. I feel good. We filmed it. I'm just like, I have a bruise on my knee because of the floor work.
And the floor work,
because I was hitting my knee on this one drop I was doing, but I finally learned how to do that correctly. Now I rolled, and I'm wearing bright pink cargo pants. You may see pictures by the time this is posted or not. Or it will be a short timeline. There's like a drawstring thing, and I rolled. And I guess I practiced it so many times yesterday. I have a massive bruise on my knee. Like it hurts. It hurts to walk. So I'm like, okay, at least I have 2 more days until I'm doing this.
Yes.
But I can say, I forgot how much I said. I am doing a hip hop routine for the showcase.
Yeah.
I want to also say this now, and I can give more detail about like the song and the background and everything.
Yeah.
I am doing it by myself. So a lot of the times people do showcases with an instructor or multiple students or something. It's like
it's usually like a group of people or at least 2 people.
At least 2 people. I had seen a while back another woman do a showcase.
Like a solo?
Yeah, solo showcase. Yeah. It was a totally different vibe. But I just kind of had it in my head for a while. Like, I want to do that. I want to do one by myself. And I'll explain a little bit more like next week with the song choice and everything kind of came up for me. Like the hip hop seemed like the right fit for this music, for this.
Yeah.
Let me do a solo hip hop routine.
I love that.
So so I'm excited about that. It will be probably shocking for a lot of people. So you heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
You didn't hear me tell you already in person. And that's really it.
I'm so excited to see it. It's going to be amazing.
I will also try to film like a day in the life reel, but I'll wait until Matthew posts his stuff, and then I'm making you wait.
Yeah.
So
It's like this is a teaser for this. Like to be continued, everybody.
To be
Yes.
continued.
I love that.
Yeah, so that's it for me for Dallas.
Okay. I
I guess
guess we
to
can go to Bachelor in
close.
Paradise. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
get our notes
Get
out.
our notes out. Okay, so now we're gonna get into the episode of Bachelor in Paradise. And just when you think that the episodes are gonna get like you think they've been the craziest, they like up the ante the following week. So it's just like, oh my gosh, this was like so like aggravating. I think
Yeah.
there's so much of the episode. We were just talking about this before we started recording, but it was so like painful to watch sometimes. It was just like that's where it's like I think having like a break from this is gonna be good after
Yeah.
in a few weeks.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, yeah. And so again, just like the last few weeks, I think this is something that they've started doing with the kind of the recap of the previous episode. But it was very quick, but they
Mhm.
recapped the secret rendezvous game that we talked about last week. So if you missed it, go watch that episode and see how that worked. And then they again showed the Brian and Bailey situation because that was obviously a very big storyline of last week. And then kicking off this
Mhm.
episode, it is day 15 of Paradise, and there were some morning conversations. I usually with those they're pretty quick, so it's like you can really it's hard to really kind of like write down what actually was said and
Yeah.
everything. But
Yeah.
what I wrote down was that Keith and Kathy were talking about kind of the best couples. I think there was the big theme throughout the episode that they both were talking about like,
Mhm.
oh, I think this is the strongest couple, and I think this is the strongest couple, so this is why I would want them to stay,
Yeah.
all that stuff. And so that was something that I noticed as well. And then Leia and Jonathan were also talking,
Mhm.
and they were talking more about how, again, kind of being strategic with how, because
Yeah.
obviously since they're more of a platonic relationship, like Kathy and Keith as well,
Mhm.
they were like, well, we don't want this to be kind of like a downfall for us in terms of winning the
Yeah.
competition, all that kind of stuff. So not that they're trying to force a relationship, obviously, but I think they're definitely trying, I think, to try to maybe see if something could work. So maybe they could, again, have that more strategic advantage to be like, okay, now people could see that there's a reason for us to stay.
Yeah.
So, and again, yeah,
One other thing.
yeah,
They did the intro. They went
yes,
back to the original song,
original song
and it was more like what the way it used to
used
be.
to be
That they had. I mean,
because they had it last week with the animals, but this was like
this was like
more
intros with
intros with people, yeah,
wasn't I don't know. The intro, I was just saying like the intros weren't as cheesy as they were.
they
Then
were,
as I said that, they did the thing with Bailey was like this.
yeah.
It's like, okay, maybe they are. But
Yes, and I didn't write this down, but I love they of course had to do the one with Dale with him spraying the sunscreen, and I was just like, why do we have to see that again? It's just like
I was successful. I was mostly successful with putting that into the recesses of my mind, and then they brought
they
it.
brought it back.
They
They're
brought
like, just to remind you what happened. It's just like, oh my
oh,
gosh. But again, they just want to kind of keep that up. But
yeah.
that was really funny.
But
But
those are the other nights I had
yeah, that was pretty
from the
much
beginning.
it. And then again, they talked about again, there were some couples I didn't write them down, but some of them talked about how again it's more of a strategy with the money
Hmm.
instead of again the kind of finding love aspect of the show, which again, like we've talked about, is kind of hard to be like, is that like the right decision? Because obviously Paradise is all
Yeah.
about finding love, and the Bachelor franchise is all about that. But then it makes it kind of difficult. It's like, oh, you put this in there, and obviously everybody's gonna be like, money, yeah. So it's
Yeah,
just like,
and I'm like even thinking it's like even if they do Paradise next year, like these people are gonna know there's a chance there's money involved.
yeah,
So now you've changed the whole motive because these people came in thinking it was just about love, and then you
exactly,
switched it on them with the money. But
exactly.
like now, if you just say, "Oh no, it's just love next year," no, like
Exactly.
I don't know.
So it was crazy. So now Hannah calls everybody over again, the group to
Yeah.
come over, and then I found this was thought this was really funny. Of course, they have to do the whole like comedic stuff with Jesse again, and this is a little like this is a little like kind of foreshadowing for what ends up happening in the actual relationship test. But they were talking on the walkie-talkies, and they're like,
Yes.
"Oh, I can't hear you. I can't hear you." Again, like we hear what most of the couples doing. And he was like, "Okay, y'all, so I'll come over." Like, and he was like, "Is this thing not working?" So again, they always got to throw Jesse in the comedy roles. They're not working. Again, I'm going to get to this, but I think that was intentional. Like it was definitely intentional that they were not working. And so Jesse comes over and joins Hannah, and he explains the next relationship test. And I find this so funny because you and I both thought of like the name of that. We were both confused or heard differently of what the actual test name was. We both heard relationship or treasure hunt because that's what I heard in the promo last week, and it was said kind of fast. And then right before we sat down to like record tonight,
Yeah.
we both confirmed it was actually Treasure Hunk, Hunk. And I'm like, even better,
That's
cool.
amazing.
It's amazing. It is so, it's just like so on brand for the show. So I absolutely love it. So yes, the next relationship test was the Treasure Hunk. And basically the rules of the game was one of them would be, or one of the couples, so each couple would be competing against each other. It'd be two on two or one versus
Hmm.
one. and one of them would be hidden inside a treasure chest or whatever, and then the other person would have to do like a treasure hunt of like games and different clues and finding stuff to unlock the treasure chest that their partner was in, and they would have 30 minutes to find five keys
Hmm.
to do that, and all the clues were kind of difficult to find. It was
Yeah.
kind of like an escape room type of thing, obviously, but like outside.
Hmm.
And the only way that they could talk would be on walkie-talkie. So that's why the walkie-talkies were very
Yeah.
important. And again, there would be a series of puzzles that they would have to solve to find them. And they would decide who would be the hunter and then who would be put in the box. And that seemed like that was actually something that was like really
The human booty.
the human booty. Yes. So that was really, really funny. And I love one note that I put in Kathy was just she's like, "Hey, will there be air in the box?" And he was like, "Yeah, you don't have to worry about that, Kathy. Just
They said you're going to be buried
buried
alive.
alive."
And I was like, oh my gosh, are you sticking them in the sand?
And it's
But I was like, that wasn't in the preview. And
no,
like, there's probably a lot of legal implications for that.
exactly. It's
But
like
yeah,
you can't have that many people sign waivers to like put
no,
them in the sand.
not for this show.
Not for this show. No, maybe like another show that could be happening exactly. So yes, that was pretty much the rules of the game. And overall, before we get into the actual competition, I really liked this idea. I thought it was very clever because it seemed like people got very competitive.
Hmm.
And then this was very quick, but Alicia and Sean, they are very big parts of this episode, but they came on feeling very confident before that was something that they focused on as well. And then the winning couple, the whole kind of caveat to this relationship test is that the winning couple would get a special
Hmm.
date out of the winning the competition, and then also they would be safe from the rose ceremony, just like last week. And now the woman will also hand out the woman of the winning couple will also hand out the first rose of the rose ceremony. And since the women have the roses this week, similar to last week, but instead of one person not getting a rose, the group will vote on which two women will not get the roses. So I wrote down things are about to get interesting
Yeah.
because, like we were saying last week, if since it was Keith and Kathy the only Goldens left, if they left, then like it would be two young people going home, and that's been kind of a consistent thing this whole season. So
Yeah.
it'd be
Yeah.
interesting to see what ended up happening. But and I thought it was so funny. I don't know if you had this, but I just love it. I'm like, oh, come here, Wells, and he came down with the blindfold and the shovel, and of course, like I love how he plays it up. It's so good.
They're like,
But
step, step,
stop, yes,
step. He had the blindfold on and we're like
exactly.
guiding him to do that.
Exactly. And then he was like, "Am I like kidnapping people?" And then in his ITM, it said kidnapper on the row. So that was something. Kidnapper.
He was like enjoying it. He's like, get in the
Yeah,
car, get in the van.
that was so funny. And so now we're actually going to get into the actual relationship test. You
Yeah.
can take over for that.
Yeah, so they kind of went, it was like in groups of two couples.
Yeah,
And I guess they changed it up from round to round.
I
'Cause
think so.
it was the
It
same.
didn't seem like it was the same stuff. Yeah.
So anyway, the person that was getting found, the human booty, was in, it was a pretty big trunk, and they had like the stuff and the information, and then they had like the walkie-talkie and the whole
Yeah.
thing. So the first two couples were Brian and Parisa and Alex and Andrew.
Hmm.
Neither of them finished.
No.
I mean, I know it just, and Wells, I recapped his podcast today. He was like, the walkie-talkies were horrible.
Mhm.
So like it was definitely
Yeah,
planned.
it's definitely planned.
Yeah, I mean, Alex and Andrew, like we've joked about how Alex like communicating in regular conversation
Yeah.
has been hard, so this has also been difficult.
Yes.
But I mean, like I felt like overall they were doing the best they could.
I definitely think so too. No, totally. And I thought it was so funny because again, you were like they were really like hyping up the whole like how Alex like in normal conversation, like the conversation is really
Yeah.
funny. And I love how Andrew was like, and this showed me that they have such like a playful banter.
Yeah.
Where she was like, "Oh, go to the island," and he was like, "Island." He was like, "Is land." He was like whatever. I thought that was so funny.
Then the second round was Keith and Kathy and Dale and Kat, and then I they were all struggling so badly.
Yeah.
Kathy was just so happy that she had alcohol.
Yeah, she was just like, "I'm lounging in here." She's like, she was so excited.
Neither of them finished again.
No.
And but she was like Keith and her were like, they have all the in the moment interviews like after, and they're like, I don't understand what you're saying. I give up this whole thing.
Yeah.
Dale and Kat were like, it was
It was a whole mess. Yeah.
I didn't have any other thing notable aside from Kat.
The only thing is I think that Keith was like on the walkie-talkie. He was like, "Are you drinking over there?" And then he was, "Are you drinking over there?" And she was just lounging. And I think that's what all that mattered to her. She was like, "I don't care if we win this or not. It's just like I'm having fun in here." So that was so funny.
And then the third round was Jonathan, Leia, and then Alicia and Sean. I mean, Jonathan and Leia, I don't remember how they got decently far.
Yeah, I think they got two or three keys, and Alicia got yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah,
didn't write down the number of keys, but
yeah.
Sean, they got it and they ran.
They got in and ran, and
Granted,
they won.
they won that round, like that
Yeah.
round. And then the fourth round was Bailey and Jeremy, and then Spencer and Jess. So Spencer and Jess also were able to finish. And there was a part where I think Jess was basically like, he asked her a question, Spencer asked her a question, and Jess was just like, hold on one moment.
Hold
And
on one
it took
moment.
us
Yeah.
It's like patience is key
Patience.
in a relationship.
Yes.
And but yeah, they did also finish the challenge.
Yeah.
I didn't put anything notable from Bailey and Jeremy.
No, me neither. Yeah, no, me neither. Because again, just like a lot of these like things, they're so quick. I
Yeah.
think this one they kind of took their time a little bit more to like kind of show you what happened, but it was still like lasted like 2 minutes, not even. So it's just like
Yeah.
you really can't write anything notable down. But yeah, that
No.
was it.
But Spencer and Jess, they finish and they also ended up winning because they finished in a shorter amount of time than Sean and Alicia.
Yep.
I was so happy that they won.
Me too. Me
Yes.
too.
And then that was, yeah, so that was the whole.
Yeah, so that was pretty much it. And so now, because like we said, since they won, they get their date, which will be
Yeah.
the next day, and both of them are safe as well. And that was again, I think that really they show so much of the Jess and Spencer's relationship going very well, and this has continued as well. So I think that was really good. So I'm happy that they won for sure.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Um,
So I think let's
there
see.
were some, they like regrouped a bit after the
Yeah,
challenge.
yeah,
So yeah, like, because now they're kind of like, okay, we know who won, we know this, now we got to try to figure out the voting. So this
yeah.
is all the scheming, which we'll get into later.
Yes, it
But
was crazy.
yeah, Kathy was talking to Jess and Alex, and then she was kind of just like, some of these couples are not doing well. I want to put the people that are struggling out of their misery.
Oh, I know.
And so she said that, and then I put I guess it was Jeremy's birthday,
Yep.
which Wells also said on the podcast today. He was basically like, typically it's like the kiss of death if you have your birthday in paradise if something goes wrong, but Jeremy's totally fine. And
Yes.
he's like, I'm grateful for all of you, even you crying.
Brian. Yes. That was so funny. I love that. And I thought also that it was interesting that because like you were saying, Kathy was really talking to like a lot of the other couples, and then like the ITM and stuff. She was like, "Oh well, like you said, I want to kind of take out maybe the less stronger couples out of the misery and all that stuff and
Yeah.
everything." And I just thought it was yes, yes, definitely agree with as well. But I thought it was kind of interesting how again, since her and Keith are also a platonic relationship, that was just kind of again they were playing that up to like, oh, she's the one giving that advice. But I definitely agree with that as well. That
Yeah.
I think if you should definitely keep the strongest couples for sure. So definitely as well.
Yeah.
And one of the other so this was kind of a more like I guess like highlighted conversation during
Yeah.
that night, and they kind of did all these close-up shots of all these couples kissing or all the couples kissing, and then they showed Leia kind of sitting by the pool, and she obviously seemed very upset, and her and Jonathan were talking, and I am honestly not surprised. I'm actually surprised it took her this long to actually feel this way or like at least show
Yeah.
it because I feel like from the beginning, ever since like we've talked about them showing her being like, oh, I actually think I might like Jonathan more as a, like more than a friend.
Yeah.
And then Jonathan's been a little bit more passive. I think she's really wanted to make this work with Jonathan. And what she was saying to him is, or was that it's been really hard to not like compare to the other couples because she's like, oh, well, like all these couples are working out and I really want that as well. And she was like, I really don't care about the money. I like the goal is being in love and she wants the same thing as what all the other successful couples are having. And she was like, I don't want you to personalize it because again, it's not really anything with you. It's more just I want this to
Yeah.
act like again, I just want something to work. And it feels like again, even though I think Jonathan is still kind of confused of maybe what he wants in this part of his life when they film the show, I feel like he is open to having at least making it get there because I think he's kind of
Yeah.
seeing it from her point of view as well. So
Yeah. And I think it just at that point they had the conversation and they just were like, even just as friends, it was like an open and honest conversation
yeah,
because I think just like they care about each other and they want that for each other, and then they're kind of just like at this point like we're here to win now.
yes,
Like it's for the money. Let's like try
let's
to
do
focus
it.
on that. At least like they're at least in the they kind of at least know where they're at in a
Yeah,
way now that he has been clear about it.
Yes,
So it's like, okay, we're not actively trying to pursue any like relationship. We are just here to win the money. And I think
Exactly.
they might almost be better off
Yeah.
because they're not going to be distracted by
Oh,
that. Yeah, she'll
absolutely.
obviously feel that way, and then they're at risk of elimination if people feel like they don't deserve to be there. But
Absolutely,
aside
yeah.
from that,
I think
Yeah.
I think again, it just shows that they care about each other. And it's like, even
Yeah.
if it's like whatever, like let's just do this because we care about each
Yeah,
other. Like
yeah.
that's what I got. Yeah.
Like, to win, $500,000.
Exactly.
So that was it.
That was it for that
night.
night. So then there's the next morning.
Yeah, the next morning, I only got really the main thing. Andrew, they asked if how did he sleep? He's like,
Yes.
he only slept 4 hours. It's like Alex likes
Let's
to talk.
Yep. Yep.
So they keep referencing this a little bit later, which we'll get back to.
Yes.
Did you have any other before we get to the scheming?
That was
Insanity.
pretty much it. The only thing I had was that Jess and Spencer go on their date, but it just kind of was them leaving on the date. And then the whole thing with Dale was like, "Are you gonna be like whatever to them on this date?" He was like, "Well, I'm gonna be the person that like rubs like the oil on both of them or something." The shaman, they rub oil on both of them. That was so funny. That was great.
He's played up the whole thing that we always talk about, how they always have these very exotic dates. And
Yes.
Thing and like
the spiritual dates and all that stuff. Yes.
It broke the fourth wall.
It did.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so I love that. So that was great. So now we're getting into the scheming stuff like you talked about.
This was just a little bit of the beginning.
Yes.
So Alicia and Sean, now it's like the new day, and they start talking. Apparently Sean's dad's a politician, and he's like, it gives me an advantage. And I'm like, oh gosh, I don't really want to hear this.
No, me
they
neither.
Scheming about
Yes.
I honestly lost track of.
Me too. It was too much.
What we want to try to do.
It was too much.
I think essentially the point was split up the strong couples.
Yes.
But
that's what I got.
That was what they were like, okay. And they're like, okay, well, like you're gonna go talk to this one, and I'm gonna go talk to this one.
Yeah.
This, and we could split them up. Wow. Yeah. Go team.
Go team. Yeah.
They did.
It's just again, yeah.
Hi, I'm Camille. Okay, so anyway, the other group, like everybody else is also trying to discuss their own, like, do we take out the people that are like only platonic? Do we take out the strong couples?
Yeah.
Do we take out the people that backstabbed us and we don't trust?
Exactly.
Like, I don't know. And that's, they're all kind of like discussing amongst themselves. And then, it starts to pick up some momentum.
Yeah.
And then Brian observes Sean talking to everyone and goes down to confront him and then asks him to explain his strategy. And it's like, I think it sounded like Sean basically told him a different strategy.
Yeah.
To try to convince him. And I'm just like, I think Brian's just like, okay.
Like whatever at this
whatever.
point. Yeah.
Jeremy is like not really
He's not really interested. Yeah.
He is like, Sean, you're scheming too much. Because I think that like Sean got to this point where he was like, oh, I have an idea. And now he's like, like it's insane.
Yeah.
He went too overboard.
He went too crazy. Yeah.
Up to the point that even Alicia started to realize that he was doing too much.
Yes.
So I will pause there.
Yes.
Your thoughts?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start. Because again, and this is not even the start of it. It really picked up even more throughout the episode. So it's just so crazy how like this was the start of it. It was just like you had said, I don't think the intent of what Sean was doing was, I guess, to rub people the wrong way. I think he was just like, oh, okay, let's like, what advantage can I get playing the game? Yeah. Fine. But again, I just think it went too far in terms of like, oh, okay, well, this is like the scheme for this, and I'm gonna get everybody in on this. And then like, who am I gonna get at a disadvantage for this? Like, it was just too much logistical things that he was planning that it just became confusing for everybody. And I think that was the reason where I think if he kind of kept it kind of base level, I think he would have had more people on board with it. Like, okay, cool, dude, whatever. But I think the fact that people are kind of seeing through the drama of all of it, they're like, okay, I'm staying away from this. And I do not like politics either. So it's just like when he said that, I'm like, you lost me right there. So it's just like, and it was, and again, like you had said, even Alicia was just kind of like I think you might need to kind of tone this down a little bit because like I think you're kind of causing yourself more of a disadvantage than actually helping yourself and helping us. Yeah. So it was like that makes sense, but it was just like it was crazy. And then he was like, I remember he told Kat that all the girls said that she was going home next. So then he was starting that scheme as well. And so he was just starting to make all these different alienating people, and it was just crazy.
But let's interrupt this regularly scheduled programming for Spencer and Jess's date.
Yes.
And then we'll get back to this.
Yes, and then we will get back to that because that's pretty much what the rest of the episode is about. So it's like, let's get into some happy vibes, like brief intermission. So like we said, Jess and Spencer go on their date. And it's yet again one of these like spiritual kind of healing connection, the tantric yoga, which they have done on the show before. I don't remember what couples have done it, but I remember in the last 5 years, they've done it a couple of times.
They kept it pretty mellow
They
though.
did keep it pretty mellow. Yeah.
Like, oh, well, like it's obviously tantric yoga is like typically associated with like sex, but it's like it's about like connecting with each
Connection.
other.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that like they focused on that
Rather
because
than like, yeah.
yeah, like I mean, obviously some of the poses they did were like
Yeah.
very intimate
Yes.
and like from a physical standpoint too, but like I was like, okay, I'm glad that they had the right mindset. They weren't
Yes.
mocking the people. The people were
Yes.
fine. They weren't trying to do, because we're later in the season. So
Exactly.
they're like, okay, we need to make it nice. If you put this in the first few weeks, it would have been a totally
No,
different thing.
totally. And
Yeah.
and I was saying that like they seemed
Yeah.
like they both were really enjoying
Yeah.
it. And even like you said, with the more intimate poses, it wasn't
Yeah.
like, oh, we're gonna be so like
No.
whatever. They were just like, oh, I really enjoy having this just so like this really close connection with
Yeah.
you. It was more of like a wholesome thing. They're like, oh, let's kind of mock and like make this like funny.
Yeah,
But
yeah. We've been together for 2 weeks at this point. It's not like, okay, I met you 2 hours ago and asked you to go on a date. Now I'm gonna go sit on your lap.
exactly, exactly.
Stare into your eyes.
Exactly, exactly. I feel like it takes a very strong couple to like be comfortable with
Yeah.
doing something like
Yeah.
that. So I think it was again a good thing that they won the competition so they could do this day. And again, they've just showed how strong of a couple they are. And again, I think that again they're just a very good a very good match and a very good fit with each other.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was pretty much all I had.
Good date.
Yeah, it was a good day.
Thanks
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
shit.
So now back to our regular scheduled programming with the scheming with Sean.
I'll let you take it away.
Oh, okay, okay. So now, like I said, Sean, now he's trying to get everybody involved with this. So like they were showing kind of him going into everybody's rooms and being like, okay, here's my plan. And he said, I'm gonna call this the Parliament of Paradise. He's just like the Parliament of Paradise. I of course he had to create like an official name for this thing, and it's just like it just sounded so stupid. Like what is hearing it? It was just so ridiculous. And again, he was just being so competitive and strategic with all this.
Yeah.
And I love again where I think he was like talking to everybody, and again they were kind of like, okay, whatever, not really involved, but they were kind of like
Yeah.
agreeing with it. And then
Yeah.
and then with Andrew, it was just again going back to him not getting a lot of sleep. He was like sleeping in the room, and then it was just like Andrew and Sean when they were talking, and it was like Andrew just wants a nap.
Yeah. Well, and that was the other thing. And then Sean goes, rule number 1, don't talk about the Parliament of Paradise.
Yes.
Jeremy's like, I can do that. Can you do that?
Yes.
Sean, and I was like, oh my God.
So
and then who said I need a drink? Was that also Jeremy?
Yeah, that was also Jeremy.
was
Yeah,
also
yeah,
Jeremy.
he's like, I need a drink. So he's just really, I think, kind of just really alienating most of the people from this. So it was really crazy, but that was pretty much all I had for that. Because do you have anything else?
Well, it skipped a bit later, but then they have the Parliament of Paradise proceedings.
Yes, they did.
Which Andrew did nap through. He did not attend.
He did not attend.
And they're showing, like, they're meeting in the area, like at the entrance of the hotel resort, whatever.
Yeah.
Like when Gary had done his entrance a few weeks.
Yeah.
Like, they're like waiting there, like,
Yes.
by the entrance. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, no one's gonna show up. But Jeremy and Dale showed up. Andrew was napping.
Yep.
And they're just like over it. And then
they're like just over it at this point.
And then Dale was like, did not approve this message.
Yes, he did not approve. I love how they're playing up the whole politics thing. But yeah, again, I think just everybody's over it at this point.
Parliament of Paradise.
Yes. That should be a biopic with Sean. That's his like new movie. It's called Parliament of Paradise. That's just his life story. I guess we'll see what happens. But they did go back. I guess we could rewind, but they did go back very short time to the date of Jess and Spencer. Again, this was very quick, but I just thought it was important because they were talking about how comfortable they really are with each other, and they're still there for the relationship and everything. And he was asking about would she be comfortable moving somewhere else?
Yes.
And obviously this comes up in the preview or in the promo for next week. And so, but at this moment, she was saying she's kind of open to anything, but she kind of wants to still take things slow, which makes sense. Because like you said, even though 2 weeks in Paradise Bachelor world is a long time, real life, that's nothing, obviously. So it's going to be very hard to be like, oh, let's talk about this right now. Yeah.
It sounded like when they discussed it in this episode, they talked about like in general, would you move to a place?
To move to a place to be together.
And in the promo, it's like when are you gonna move right away? And it was like an immediate thing. And I think it's like okay. So I'm sorry. Well, okay, we'll probably get into them next week. I'll just give my 2 cents right now because I'm probably going to repeat it again next week. If I were in this situation and I was dating somebody on the show and it's like, even if it's going well and you're super, this whole thing, I'm sorry, I'd have to come back get back into my normal life and
Hmm.
see all my things. This is not a place that I can make like a total like straight
No.
up decision. You can brainstorm
Yeah.
and like, but it's like he's saying, oh, like, well, when one of our leases ends, I'm like, I
Yeah,
have
I can't.
access to my lease
No, it's
paperwork.
like I can't process this right now. No.
Like it's like I can't make a decision. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, we'll figure it out when we get back. But it's like what I at least felt like she was conveying was like,
Yeah.
I am open to moving.
Yes. But
And
let's kind of just
yeah,
pause right now,
yeah.
which makes sense. But that was again pretty
Yeah.
much it. And so back to the everything with the scheming. And
But
so Leia and Jess talk, and now everybody, like you were saying, is kind
mhm,
of now against Sean. And it's just like we
yeah,
really don't want him to be here anymore. So it's just like we really don't want Sean to be there anymore. And then Kat and Leia talk as well.
yeah,
And so all of them are kind of just like again, just
no,
like this has just gone too far. We don't really think he's trustworthy and just he's really just going too far. Let's just get rid of him.
yeah,
And that's kind
yeah.
of the vibe with that.
I think I also had I don't think well then they have all the I think that then it was a cocktail party. So then all the conversations start going
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
cocktail
yeah.
party. So like I think Spencer and Jess they were talking. This was at the cocktail party that they said they're falling in love with each other. I
Yes.
think I had that part.
Yes.
Um and I guess then that was like because Spencer and Jess had gone back from the date. So Andrew told Spencer about the whole Parliament of Paradise.
Yes.
I mean, they're safe. So like
Yeah.
they're
So that's
sweet.
fine. Yeah.
But Spencer was angry.
Yeah.
Um
The only thing I had before was that this was right before the cocktail party was when Alicia walked in on people talking about her, the three girls, and then
right.
she took it out of context because she was like, "Oh, they're talking about me," and it's like she was kind of thinking, "Oh, they're talking about Sean." That it's like both of us are talking about, and then she felt betrayed by what
That's
the
right.
three
I
girls were
forgot about
talking.
that.
I just had that, but it kind of gets resolved in the cocktail party, but that's what I had as well
Yeah,
for there.
I
But
forgot about
I
that.
just thought, again, I could see, and I've heard some people talk about this. I get where she's coming from because I feel like if you don't. I, I think if you hear something out of context instead of hearing it from the other, like personally, it's much worse. Like if you walk into a conversation where you think you're being talked about and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, like
Yeah.
it's I can see why she would be upset. But oh yeah, so that makes total sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty much it before the cocktail party. And there was I don't know what the context was, but I had the Sean and Spencer talked, and I love how for what Sean said or when he was talking the item, it was like he needs a campaign manager because he was just going like on and on about everything. And then I said Spencer isn't about it again because nobody is
No.
about it. So
He was just like, I'll just fake it and pretend it's fine. Because he's like,
yeah,
that's what you do in a strategy game. You fake it.
yes, yes.
They also at the cocktail party, I know they zoomed in on Wells at one point, and like
Mhm.
Wells, because they were like, "What do you think about the whole thing?" And he was like, "I'm glad they're sending people home. Please send people home because I have no help at the bar and I'm not getting paid enough for this." And he's like, "And Keith, send Keith home. He's drinking all my drinks."
Man, we gotta cut our man well some slack. Like we gotta like not make him work that hard, man. It's crazy.
I'm just glad they kept in a lot of his stuff.
No, I know, me too. I absolutely love that. And then Jeremy and Brian talk. So that was
The
like
Italian music
the
again.
Italian music again,
Bring it
which
back.
was great. And he was saying that there isn't enough people to send Sean home instead of them. So it's just kind of being like, how can we make this work to send Sean home? And again, it was
Yeah.
more kind of, I think Brian really was trying to apologize to Jeremy about everything that happened last
Yeah.
week. And then in Jeremy's ITM, he was like, again, I feel like it really wasn't his place to kind of come into like pre-Sinai's business, but like it kind of takes a real man to apologize and take ownership of different things. So like, I'm not gonna hold a grudge against him and I'll move on and everything
Yeah.
like that. So
Well, yeah. I think that's where I was like, I don't know. I kind of hope everything shakes out.
yeah,
But
yeah. It seemed like they made up. So even if it
yeah.
was like, oh, I won't forget it, but like we'll move on, it's
Yeah.
fine.
Despite the Godfather music.
Yeah, exactly. They had to like put the Italian music in there
Yeah.
for Brian. So of course.
It's like, and then the next thing I had was Alicia. Now she's upset with Sean.
Yes.
And because, like, of what she thought she heard about, like, people are saying this to me that they don't think that you're really, like, interested in me and you're just trying to do this for the game now or something like that.
Yeah. And she was like, I just think you've gone too far with this. And again, I think again, because then it's making both of them be at a disadvantage as well,
Yeah.
obviously. So that's what she was kind of saying. Not only was I upset by what I thought the girls were saying,
Yeah.
but then also, again, I feel like you've just gone too far with this. Again, we're kind of repeating ourselves, but that was a big theme. Yeah.
Noticed.
At least she noticed. Yes. I'm glad she was kind of being like,
Yeah.
hey, stop. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
I think the next thing I had was the cat and Dale.
Nail. Yep.
Yep. So Cat had
This was cute, I thought.
yeah
This was cute.
the note.
Kat wrote the note. Yeah.
A note to ask Dale if he would be her boyfriend.
Hmm.
And didn't he not like it was like yes, no, or
Yeah, I think it's like a yes, no, yeah,
I
yeah,
don't think I think somebody was saying like he didn't say yes, he just said yes or not
yeah. He didn't
say
say
yes,
yes.
he said yes. He just I don't know how did he say do you have it right?
I don't have it written down, but I think it was like I think he like verbally said it. I don't think he like or no, that wasn't it. He wrote it down but didn't say it. He like handed her back the note.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the whole point. So he didn't like verbally say it, but he like handed back the note, and then she was like, "Oh, yay!"
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It was cute.
it was cute.
I'm
So
happy that it's worked out after all
after all the drama of the
this.
first few episodes,
Yeah.
I am glad. I like I said, just like Spencer and Jazz, it seems like they're in a good place now as well. So I am happy about that. And again, I thought it was
Yeah.
cute. And I remember in like the interview thing, he was like, "Well, we're now officially together now." So yeah, that
Yeah.
was very cute. So
And then they had Alicia for some interview, and she was just like, "I wear my heart on my sleeve," and she was wearing this dress that was cut like this, like the high neck,
yeah,
and she is his sleeves not pictured,
yeah,
which I enjoyed that one.
that was
They're
great
really working overtime on those
on these
captions because
captions
they know
now.
that this is something we liked from the
Yes.
previous version, and they're like they weren't doing it at the beginning, and now they're like, okay, now we're actually getting it. They're posting recaps of it after the episode every time.
Yes, so
Yeah.
it's they know the fan base loves them, just like we're gonna do this
Yeah.
now.
I was
Yes.
like, okay, at least they finally got it together with that.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and then next thing I had was like the girl chat with Alicia. And
Yeah.
so, I think the main people in it were Alex and Bailey because that was in
Teresa.
Parisa.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And so the three of them, she kind of just fully kind of let her heart out. It was just
Yeah.
like, guys, I felt like we were really close friends, and honestly, I felt so betrayed by like walking in and feeling like you were talking about me and everything and stuff like that, and how like you can send me home and you don't have like don't care and all that stuff. And even before she could finish, you could see the girls be like, "Oh no, we didn't want that at all," and everything like that. So they said they didn't want to. It was more about Sean. They were saying like, "Oh, they're
Yeah.
kind of have the more of the opinion of what everybody has talked about when they've been talking with Sean and away from Sean about how they thought he went too
Mhm.
far." And they were like, "Again, this is kind of us talking about Sean, not about you." And it seems like from that things got cleared up pretty quickly and that they were all on
Yeah.
the same page. It was like, okay, I'm glad like our friendship is
Yeah.
like kind of it wasn't what I thought it was. And again, I think that it just takes kind of like clear communication. So
It's like, yeah, because it's like they were also concerned about her,
yeah,
like for Alicia. Um,
yeah,
but I think they were like, it wasn't, I think Bailey had said something at one point. It's like, I'm not going to come to you with the concern unless I really think it's like, they were just like brainstorming and like
yeah,
discussing it amongst themselves. They weren't like at this point that it was like a serious, serious concern that they were
right,
going to go to her about it.
right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was like, okay, at least she confronted this
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was pretty much it. Now we get, I think, the craziest conversation of this episode. So, do you want to take this one or do you want me to?
No, you can go.
Okay, okay. You're like, I don't even want to talk about it
My
anymore.
opinions.
Okay, okay. And so Kat and Sean had a talk, and this was kind of like they prefaced this with was who was it that Sean was talking to that then she went to go talk to Kat, or he went to go talk to Kat.
Somebody was basically saying about that cat
Like
basically didn't go to defend Sean or was saying something about like not supporting this Parliament of Paradise thing.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And then in the whole thing with there was somebody being like, oh, like Kat and I are so close and everything like that. And then I guess the person that Sean was talking to told him, oh, well, that's not what I heard from
Yeah.
Kat. It was like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
she
yeah.
was kind of like, oh, we're not really close or whatever.
Yeah.
So then he was like, felt very betrayed. He was like, no.
And for context, they were on a previous season of Bachelor in Paradise together. I guess they were friends outside of this. And like when Kat did go through a lot of stuff online, like so he says that he was like very supportive and all of that. And I'm like, I'm sure he was,
Exactly, exactly.
but
So
continue.
it was just this was so just frustrating to listen to. But so again, he goes to talk to Kat and he was kind of like, well, I was just talking to this person and like he was like, oh, this person told me, oh, like
Yeah.
you made a face when I told them that we were so close and everything. And then she was like, well, yeah, that is kind of true because I feel like you've kind of taken this whole Parliament of Paradise thing out of proportion.
Yeah.
And she was like, and he really kind of blew up at her. he
Yeah.
like started like cursing at her and he was like being like, well, you're such like a fake person and all this stuff and all the stuff that people were talking about on Bachelor in Paradise the previous time we were on it, it's all true. And he was just starting to just like throw all these insults at her when she wasn't even really saying anything. She didn't like
No.
insult him or anything like that. And he was like, I protected you and I defended you. And she was like, well, like I appreciate it, but I'm like an adult. I don't need anybody to protect me, which valid. But
She showed a lot of composure in
she,
that.
she did, because I don't think many people would have had the same level of
No.
composure with her. And she just left. She's like, I'm not going to deal with this, which I think most people would have.
I'm glad she did.
I'm glad she did as well. And again, like I said, he just completely changes his attitude. Like
Yeah.
2 minutes prior, he was like, "Oh, I love Kat," and she's like, "We're like so close," and I defended her and everything like that. And then again, they like kind of showed the like blurb of all like the kind of recap of the
Yeah.
season that they were on, and he was like, "Oh, all that stuff that like she did, and all the hate that she got was totally deserved because it's all true, and all she thinks about is herself." So like, he just completely like just like shifted things, and it's just so crazy.
Fortunately, I don't think that people are gonna watch this and believe him.
No,
Because
totally.
like she basically what happened was he said like he point blank asked her, "Do you think we're better friends than other people here?" And she hesitated. And like yes, the hesitation and the face she made, that was an answer.
Yeah.
But like the point was he completely went
Like
this
that. Yeah.
immediately. And they did show a clip of him like talking to Dale and like supporting her in that. So that like he did genuinely do that.
Yeah.
And it's like I get his frustration with her seemingly not being support appreciative of his support of her.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
However, he's conflating it with the fact that she's not supporting the Parliament of Paradise thing.
Exactly. So it's kind of like he's thinking like one can't be true without the other.
Yeah.
So then it's just like no.
And no,
Yeah.
and it's like at the and it's like okay, it's like you're acting a fool.
Yes.
Just because you've been nice and we've been trying all these other times doesn't mean I'm going to support you when you're acting a fool.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like,
Exactly.
and it's like also there's something to be said about because I've heard this before. It's like if you do something for somebody and then the second you don't reciprocate it anymore or whatever,
It's like, oh no, never mind.
it
Yeah.
just shows that
Like, is it really even genuine at that
it's
point?
like, yeah, like maybe the person wasn't consciously doing it as a manipulation
Yeah.
tactic, but like the second, like Sean's been doing these nice things, and then the second that Kat didn't seem to reciprocate it, and then Sean like completely retracts it.
Yeah.
There's a difference between being like, okay, I'm not going to continue with this friendship anymore. It's fine, and it's not working.
Yeah.
He completely
Was like, oh, she's such an
It-
evil person. Yeah.
it's like a sign that it's like, okay, well, you were doing that maybe subconsciously to get something from this relationship
Yeah.
as a friendship even.
Exactly.
And like now it's like because if you can flip and change your story that quickly, that's totally inauthentic.
Exactly.
I hope
Which
it made sense.
no, absolutely. And I totally agree. No, it was again, it's just like psychological like podcast with Camille and Matthew now. It's
Yeah.
just like, oh my gosh. But yeah, again, and I'm so glad again that Kat was just like, I don't need this. And she wasn't even mean. She was just like, I'm out,
No.
like I can't
No.
because like who would take that from anybody? So and like she said, I think she was talking to like some of the people and she was like, oh, he just blew up at me completely and like I wasn't even doing anything. I wasn't even saying anything to him. So which was crazy.
Then he
And
tries to go talk to other people.
yes,
Everybody's over it.
everybody's over it.
Kathy, I forgot. She was like, I don't remember. She was like, no, no, no. Like,
No. And I love how it was like the whole like I think it was around the bar, and then they just like everybody was yelling and everything like that because they were just so done with Sean. And then they had like the close up of Jeremy eating. I just thought like, it was like so out of like it was just like a juxtaposition of like, oh, this chaos, and he was just like, I'm chilling here eating tacos.
yeah.
And so that was
like,
great. Like enough, stop. And again, Bailey and Jeremy talk, and then she said that she doesn't want to send Alicia home, so it's still kind of like I think they want to keep Alicia around, most people, but I think everybody again is just done with Sean at this point.
Yeah.
So that is pretty much it. That was it for the cocktail party. And then the group starts to vote. So they did a little bit differently this time with the iPads instead of like the actual like I guess put like something in a bowl or whatever.
Mhm.
And then I guess I can go over the rose ceremony stuff, which again, very, very dramatic rose ceremony. So again, since the couples like are pretty consistent through this is really none of these are really a surprise. So Jess with Spencer, Alex with Andrew, Bailey and Jeremy, Kat and Dale. And here is where the surprise actually happens with Kathy and Keith, because this is where, like we talked about, or if they stay, then it's two young people going home. And that's what I talked about last week, is that could be a possibility, but I didn't really see it happening. And even a lot of the people were like, oh, I think Keith and Kathy are going home regardless. Like we love them and all, but like just connection wise, I think that ends up happening. So that was a surprise, but I'm actually kind of happy, like especially with how all this transpired. Like I'm kind of glad that we got, even if it's platonic, I'm glad that they stayed.
It's kind of just like, I just want to be here to be a mom to you all.
Yes, yes,
Like, at least keep Kathy there long enough till just
yes.
the end so that way she can,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. So, and now here's where we get the drama of the rose ceremony, which was so crazy. So Jesse, as he always does, was doing like, okay, everybody, final rose tonight. There's again, if you don't hear your name, the two people were going home. And he was like, the final rose would be going to Cliffhanger, obviously, as they do. And right before they went to commercial, Alicia was like, Jesse, can I interrupt? And it's just like, okay, surprise. And so then when they came back from commercial, basically what she was saying is that they are not really going to have her and Sean are not going to have their character questioned, and that because of that, they decided that they are going to both leave together and continue the relationship out of paradise, and they've kind of made this decision on their own. And I love how like everybody started clapping. It's just like, why are we even clapping? It's just like it was so awkward. And then I remember again, just like you were talking about how like Sean was only doing this for kind of the gain that he would get out of it. They both were like leaving like as such bad sports out of the rose ceremony when they were like both walking out, and he walked by. He was like, "Cat, like don't call me crying." And then
when this one ends,
when this one ends,
leave. He said it's like, Dale, I love you, but Cat, don't call me crying when this one's done. I was like, how do you say that? Then they have their interviews and they're saying all those horrible things, and Alicia's like, Cat is a horrible person, and da 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 da. This whole thing. I was like, that is just. I mean, they said. That was horrible. It was
it was so horrible. And then again, it was funny because I think they were talking, or really ironic, because they were talking about, oh, we want to leave here with integrity. That was the last thing they left there with, which was like so crazy. And then like you said, Alicia was like really going after Kat, which is what we saw in the promo last week. And she was like, oh, like Kat is like such a snake, and like her kind of like karma will come to her and everything. It's just like, how could this even like change that quickly? Like, it was just
it seemed all like fine and everything, and then she did that. So all right, so maybe
it was just.
I think you were right by saying fake.
Yes, yes. So that's why I was just like, it just seemed so just ingenuine.
They just wanted to feel like they had their last hurrah.
Their last,
they were like, well, we chose to leave, and then I'm glad Jesse was like, well, they were going home anyway.
Going home anyway. So yes, exactly. So it's just like who cares? So exactly. So did you have anything else?
That did when Jesse said they were going home anyway. It deaded it.
It deaded it. Yes, there you go. Exactly. You see, Dale, that phrase came in handy for us. Exactly. It did deaded it. Okay, and so
then there was the other
the other awkward moment. Do you want to say it?
Was it Dale?
And it was like I think it was Dale, and then Keith in his like ITM was like, it was Dale. America, it was Dale.
Somebody farted.
Somebody did, and that was just like, oh my gosh, like everybody started laughing, which was really, really funny. And then, so like you said, Jesse said that Sean and Liz were going home anyway, which honestly, even if this whole thing didn't happen where they chose to leave, I was expecting them to go home regardless. So I was like, that's not a surprise.
Too close to the sun.
Exactly. So there is still one more rose up for grabs. And so it is between Brian and Parisa and Leia and Jonathan, which I actually thought this was a pretty hard call because I could see reasons for both, especially with how they would be voting, like the actual group would be voting. But Leia and Jonathan ended up staying. Leia got the rose and obviously picked Jonathan. So Brian and Parisa go home. And
Leia, when Jonathan accepted the rose, he kissed her.
He kissed her, yeah. So it's this thing. Yes.
I mean, I think it was just more for a shock.
Yes, exactly. It's like, hey, see, you like you don't think I can be like romantic? Like, here you go. Exactly.
See what happens in the next episode.
Yeah, like maybe we'll see what happens.
But yeah, Parisa and Brian leave.
Yeah.
I was like,
I mean, I'm surprised, but not.
Also, because I think they were like, all right, we're done with Brian too.
Exactly.
We said it in our podcast episode last week. I'm like, if they can see a way to get rid of Brian and Parisa, they're going to.
So it happens. Yeah.
But I don't know. The interesting thing about like them leaving, I'm like, I don't know. They seem pretty confident in their relationship leaving. So
exactly.
I was critical of some of their dynamic earlier on.
Yeah.
I'm a little more confident later. We'll see what happens in the real world.
Right. That's what I was saying too, is that it seems like they could continue this outside of the show, and they're like, oh, like even Parisa was like, oh, my whole goal for coming on Paradise was to find my person, and I really believe that I did find that. So I don't think she could say that if that wasn't true. So it seems like things could work, and I wish the best for them, and I think we both do. So and right before we get to the promo, I thought it was so funny because Kathy in her ITM, we gotta love Kathy with all her stuff, where they were like, she was talking about like different like layers of things and stuff, like two sets of people, and she was just eating Oreos with it. Yes,
like this and
this and this.
I don't know. I'm just gonna eat my Oreos.
I'm just gonna eat my Oreos. So that was great. So that was pretty much the episode, and the promo was pretty short, but again, it looks pretty interesting, and again, they're gonna keep upping the ante. So the next relationship test kind of looks like some kind of like physical challenge type
Yeah.
thing where they're like
Yeah.
doing different kind of they're outside obviously, but they're like doing different like running things, kind of like this, but then there's like fire and stuff. Like it seems like it's such like
Yeah.
a like and almost I've heard people like talk about on podcasts I listen to that also recap. It's like they're really making it Survivor, but not Survivor. It's
Yeah.
like that's what they're really
Yeah.
leaning in towards. So it looks interesting. I don't know if you have any thoughts about
That
that.
was really it. I think
Yeah.
it looks crazy. I don't know how it's gonna end up. I listened to Kathy was on a podcast and she kind of, I don't know, it was a spoiler, but she was like, I don't know, some people are gonna win with the love and some people are gonna win with the money.
Yep.
It's like, and there's your teaser.
Exactly.
So I'm like, yeah, I mean, it would be nice to see at least like one couple come out of it
I
and
hope so.
some other people win the money, even if it is like platonic. So
Exactly. I hope so. And then they very quickly they kind of for like a minute went to Justin Spencer again and were
Yeah.
kind of showing it seemed like it was actually from this date, and maybe it was because it seemed like they were still at the pool or place where they were. It could be, yeah, or maybe at another place. So maybe this was what they talked about, like
Yeah.
that they just didn't show. Because like we talked about, they showed during the actual date her being like, "Oh yeah, I'm open to moving anywhere for a relationship, but let's take things slow." And then, like you said, I think Spencer was really more kind of like pushing it, I guess, a little bit more
Yes.
stronger than just wanted to
planning it.
or planning it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think they actually played the line of her being like, I'm not really ready, I think, to like move in after, which really, who could blame her? I don't think anybody would be.
Yeah, it's a little soon.
So it's a little soon, and so that seems like that's happening. And then there was some rose ceremony drama as well, where Jesse says like again the things are about to change and like all this stuff and everything.
What else could change?
What else could change? I know. So it seems like there's going to be the drama is going to be continuing next week, but that was pretty much it. But I thought overall it was a good episode for sure.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I don't know. And we'll see. I think we've got 2 more weeks left, I think, because we were saying we thought it was August 25th. I think September 1st,
First,
like Labor
yeah.
Day is the last episode. So
Mhm.
we'll see. They'll start to tell. I mean, I'm sure next week they're going to start announcing it.
Mhm.
I know that our schedule the next few weeks is going to be a little hectic. So
Yeah.
the timing of the episodes, we're getting them out when we can get them out. We've got 2 more episodes of Paradise.
Yes,
That's
yes.
it.
So we will figure out what's going to happen, but I think we're in for a wild ride for the rest of the season.
So I just want to see how it ends. Now at this point, I'm like, okay, come on.
Let's just finish it.
I want to see.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that is it. So let's wrap it up. So thank you guys so much again for watching this episode. If you liked the episode and like what you saw, please consider subscribing and also following us on our Instagram at Ballrooms and Bachelors. And again, we have a lot of crazy stuff coming up for the final 2 weeks, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.